Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Real Tea, where we truly educate you, yes, and even you. I am your girl, Contrice from the Tea with the Tea, coming to you each and every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with that good game for your brain. I am so glad that you decided to join us. Now, on tonight, not only do we have the tea, but we brought that flavor for you. The Real Tea is presenting When the Curtain Opens, a man's master plan to share with the world right here and right now. Is the lights, camera, and action. So get ready, get set. We're coming into your homes, your cars, wherever you are tonight. We have something in store for you. Now, I need everybody under the sound of my voice to do something for me. Grab a pen and a paper, open your hearts and your minds, because my guest tonight, he truly came to spill the tea, and we are here to soak it all up. Now remember, sharing is caring. So if you're viewing through the broadcast of the Real Tea Facebook page, please like, share, and follow. And if you're viewing through the Real Tea YouTube channel, please like, share, and subscribe. It's that simple. And each time the Real Tea begins to brew more tea, you will receive notifications that you can join who? Your girl Trees for Tea on today or any day on the replay. And now for our tea of the week. And yes, I'm talking about the tea that you drink. This is pineapple tea. Yes, pineapple. The sweet pineapple tea creates a deliciousness for peels and ends and trimmings. I mean, you can take the peels, the ends, and all of that, and you can boil that. And this is what we're talking about. That's going to process pineapple tea that would otherwise have been discarded. Now it combines like warm spices with the peels, and it can be made as if or with additional sweeteners, white sugar, light sugar, sugar cane, a brown sugar. All of these things work together for the sweetness without removing the essence of the fruit. Now, if your pineapple is super sweet, you can cut it back, or you can cut back on the sugar. You really don't have to use that much sugar, but the result is a drink that's spiced and refreshing. Now, this is great to make in large batches, so you can gather and freeze your peels until you are ready to make the drink, and just scale up the ingredients accordingly. Little pineapple, peel, trimming, water, and you got tea. You can like, it's more, I made the tea. And the way that I made the tea was I just cut the trimmings off, and a little bit of the inside too. You can use that as well. It's great on ice punches. You can use it with sangria, serve it hot, serve it cold, but definitely it is good. Now, I didn't look up to see what the benefits were, but it's a fruit and it's really, really good. So yes, you can make tea out of a pineapple. Ain't that something? And now we're going to take a glimpse of our future business of the week. Now, if you're looking to have your business on the show featured, definitely you can email jointreesfortea@gmail.com, and we will get your business right on. You want to include things like pictures, what you're selling, what you do. I don't care. You can put whatever you need about your business, because the Real Tea is definitely here to support you. So that's JOINTRICE, the number 4, TEA@gmail.com. You guys, isn't that great? And so the business that we have this week is Chef Kendrick. You guys, will be back right after the messages from Chef Kendrick. You guys enjoy. All right, you guys, that was Chef Kendrick. He is based out of Charleston, South Carolina. Very good chef. I hired him myself, and I'm telling you, he is phenomenal. So if you guys are looking for a chef, he does in-home services. And I know y'all saw that food. I am so hungry after watching that. I was fine before I watched that commercial. Now I'm like, but anyway, we're gonna stick to our diet. We're gonna drink our tea. We're gonna drink our tea. That's what we're gonna do. We always have a tea. And it's pineapple. So we're gonna see how this is working. You guys, the moment we've all been waiting for, you guys. Um, Now our guest tonight, now he stands in a league of his own. Award-winning author, playwright, poet, and a screenwriter. He is written in multiple genres, like all kinds of stuff. You wouldn't believe. Y'all just wait till you see him. Just wait. Primarily young adult romance, thrillers, and horror. A best-selling author of 12 novels. And here I am trying to get one book out. 12 novels. 5 produced screenplays, 3 collections of poetry, 7 short stories, and many more stage plays. He's earned a Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing and a graduate of the professional program in screenwriting at UCLA. Must I go on and on and on? Yeah, please welcome to the Real Tea platform, Mr. David Matthews.
Thank you very much. It's such an honor to be here. I love the Real Tea. Your show is so fun and it's so inspiring and so informative. It's great. What you do is awesome.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm so happy to see that somebody appreciate me. I like you already. It is so nice to finally get to meet you outside of the research that I do. But it's finally, I finally get to see you face to face. So that is awesome. Yeah, you took time out your busy day to come to the tea. I see. And you got a cup or something. You got some tea too?
Well, I have to tell you, it's coffee tonight because it's
Okay,
Friday
okay,
or
okay.
it's evening. But I am a tea drinker. I don't know if you've ever tried it before, but Twinings makes this really awesome tea. It's called
Yes, they
buttermint
are.
tea. Buttermint tea. It's like an after dinner mint. It's so good. I have to tell you, it's very, very good. Highly recommend.
Bring that tea. Bring that tea on to the tea. Let me know because I'm sure going to get some because I like Twinings.
Yeah.
Their teas, their mixtures and things of that nature. I'm definitely a tea drinker. So it would be, a phenomenon that my show would be called The Real Tea. Yes. Now, we got to jump right into it because you have so many different. You're a jack of all trades, it seems like, in the arts.
Thank you.
So I definitely do appreciate your work. It gives me broadens my horizon. So tell us, you can tell us about you. You can tell us about you just overall in general. We definitely want to hear. I already know, but you can tell them.
Well, thank you. And again, I really, really appreciate the invitation to be here. It's an honor. I started writing when I was 7. I was in the 2nd grade and I had a really great teacher. I had many great teachers growing up. Shout out to the teachers of the world because they do a phenomenal job.
Yes.
I wrote a Halloween story. It was a short story. It was like about 5 pages long. And I turned it in, and my teacher kept me after class, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm in trouble. What did I do?" Kind of thing. And it turned out she really thought I had something there, a potential, and it took that teacher at a young age of 7 to tell me, "I think this is something that you should do." So she reached out to my mom, as teachers do, and said, "You should encourage this." So when I was about 13, now we didn't honestly, we didn't have a whole lot growing up. So my mom saved up. I had a single mom for most of my life. She saved up and got me a secondhand typewriter way back in the day. Okay. And I didn't know how to type, so I had to teach myself how to type. But she knew, my mom knew, and she invested in my future and got me that secondhand typewriter, taught myself to type. And I published my first short story 2 years later when I was 15. And it just went from there. And I've been writing ever since and publishing my work and movies and TV, as you mentioned, and stage plays. So I got to tell you, it makes for a really wonderful, blessed, enriched life. And so grateful for the journey. You know, I mean, certainly been some hard times along the way, as you can imagine.
Hmm.
Anybody, I think anybody who embraces the creative life is going to have, their own fair share of struggles, rejection, so forth. But I love it. I love what I do. It's a gift to be able to tell stories and to share those stories with readers. As you know, and you mentioned, I write a lot for young people um, who really have embraced my work a lot. So I'm very grateful to that. And yeah, so it's yeah, as you mentioned, I very busy writing always, or so it feels. I do take time off, but it feels that way for sure. But yeah,
Yeah. Oh, I definitely touch and agree with you about when you're doing anything that's creative, you do go through the whole rejection. You know, when I first started, I remember I looked for people that I already knew to support me, which was hilariously funny. Because they didn't support me beforehand. You know what I mean? So what are you so I had to kind of revamp what I was doing to think like it's not the people you know that's gonna that's gonna support you and things of that nature. So you do go sort of a rejection or somebody that doesn't believe in what you're doing. And I wrote a like a revamp of everything that I wanted to do. And I put there was a little space in there in the outline that I put, no one's gonna see your dream like your vision like you do.
mhm.
And it and that came from my own self to me. So I get, that is how it happens, because I know you probably never, some people maybe not never thought that you would go this far. Like you went long, like you got the ball and you just kept going.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. I think it's so important. Sometimes all we have to count on is ourselves, like you were talking about, and I think, and even sometimes, we don't believe in ourselves at certain times too. And so even when we're our own, support system, it's hard to keep finding that belief in ourselves. But when you do, it just feels like magic, that you just get to power on and do it. But you said something that was so important just a few minutes ago about basically about you're the only person who can tell your story, and you have to own that and be that and live in it and know that that's a power that people have, is their story that comes from within, and only they can share that and tell it because it belongs to them. And so I encourage you and everybody to tell your story, because
Yeah.
somebody out there needs to hear it and find it and embrace it. And yeah, I can't wait to read what you write, by the way. So you got to send me what you're working on. I want to read it now. I'm intrigued.
Yes, I absolutely. Just to let it out there, I write poetry.
Mm,
And I wrote a book. It's a book of poetry. So I gave myself a deadline for that. That should be coming soon. And then I have a book. Kind of. It's called. I'll give you. It's called Dysfunctional Family. That's what it's called. So lots of interesting characters. That comes from most people's families. But
yeah.
yes, yeah, I'm interested for other people to see it too. I really, really am. But this ain't about me. This ain't about me. This is about you. This is about you. Can you tell us about your life as a young author? Like, how was that as you
Yeah.
started?
Well, as I mentioned, I had really, really incredible teachers that were such a great sense of support for me growing up. I became a teacher myself later in life because of that. But yeah, I think I always knew that I wanted to be a writer. When I was 13, in my junior high, and where I grew up in Sacramento, California, an author who I loved, Norma Fox Mazer, who sadly has passed away since, but she'd written a ton of young adult novels, and I
Mhm.
devoured these books. Like I just loved everything that she wrote. And as luck would have it, she came to our school as a special guest, and they picked 10 students to have lunch with her in the library. And I have to tell you, I campaigned for that one of those 10 spots like nothing else in my life, because I was dead set on having lunch with her. And I got to have lunch with her, and I remember I don't know if you remember those old school, like in grammar school, like those lined paper pieces of paper that we used to
Of
have to write.
course.
So I'd written all my short stories on those, and I was so nervous, but I took one to her and I handed it to her, and I said, Mrs. Mazer, I've always wanted to be a writer. And she looked at what I had given her, and she said, you already are. And it was that moment of validation for me that somebody who, like you were saying, that was doing something that I wanted to do, validated me in that moment that I was already doing it. And it was like even though I was so young, it was such a defining moment for me in my life that I was like, okay, this is what I needed to sort of push to the next level. And at 13, I didn't know what that next level was, but I got to it. And I've just been so fortunate to have so many great creative people in my life that have just always encouraged me to take risk and put myself out there, because it's so vulnerable, especially when you write something like poetry, of putting ourselves out there to share our heart and soul with people. And everyone's a critic, so
Yeah.
they're going to be quick to tell us what they think of our work, and that's tougher for a lot of people.
Yes.
So but yeah, being a young person, I read everything I could get my hands on. I had so many literary inspirations growing up, like Maya Angelou and Judy Blume and Zora Neale Hurston, and just people that really shaped my voice as a writer. So I was just devoured books. I lived in the library as a young person, which is probably why I didn't get into very much trouble. The library kept me out of trouble.
Yeah, I know about 5 children we should have sent to the library too.
I have 4 younger brothers, so I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, so to encourage them to go to the library too.
Yeah.
So when you were young, you wrote like adult stories, romance, horror, thriller. You just went all in, right?
I did. I wrote, today as an adult, I still write for young people. My young adult book, Marijuana Mermaid, which just came out, which thankfully was a bestseller. So I'm so grateful for that.
Yes.
But I write for my younger self. I write stories that I didn't have growing up.
Okay.
And so I write those so that they exist for those that are coming up behind me, if that makes any sense. So I think it's really important to represent and to put the stuff out there that people need to see versions of themselves on the page. And so often we don't. And that's where that kind of comes from, is writing for the young people. But yes, I love horror. I love romance. Tell me a good love story and I'm there. I'm going to listen. I love writing about ordinary people going through extraordinary circumstances, and that's just what draws me to the computer every morning. And it's just so, and then I mean, once you put your work out there and people start to respond to your work, that's the greatest gift as a writer, is just getting that feedback and connection from a reader is just remarkable. It's why we do it. At least that's why I do it every day. So.
Yeah, kind of like, I know what you mean. Like, kind of like having the feeling when someone leaves a survey, or someone says really great things after they've encountered some of your work, because guess what? Word of mouth is also part of your career. It's a huge part of it, as a matter of fact, word of mouth, because someone's going to say, because I tell everybody right now, y'all, this man is awesome. Like, he has like a big bag of things, you know what I mean? And I'm like, hey, I get to talk to him. This is great.
Oh, that's very kind of you. I appreciate it. And I get to talk to you, which I'm equally excited about.
Hey.
It's a win-win, love,
Right. Now, tell me, how did you really know, though? Was it when the person said to you that you already was a writer? Was that how you knew you were a writer? Or that was just your validation? But how did you know you were a writer?
Early in my career, I felt like I was writing for a lot of the wrong reasons. I was writing for, I was very driven by sales and just reviews and so forth, and it wasn't coming from a pure place. And I remember in the world of social media, you get a lot of messages from people who read your work or see your plays or your movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it was such a powerful moment. I got a message through Facebook from a 15-year-old boy who lived in a small town and was having a tough time being who he was. And he wrote to me, and he started out a message of like, uh, I've tried to kill myself 4 times, and literally my heart stopped. And the librarian at my school gave me one of your books to read because she thought that I would connect with it, and I did. And I just want to tell you that, and wrote me this beautiful, beautiful message about how the book I'd written connected with him, and kind of shaped him a little bit and gave him some comfort and some encouragement to be comfortable in his own skin. I mean, being 15 is hard enough these days, but so that was the moment that I was like, I get it. I get why I'm supposed to be doing this. I understand. I didn't understand the power of the written word because, I mean, when
Mm-hmm.
you're writing something, you don't realize. At that point, didn't realize, and you're putting something out in the world, you never know who's going to read your poetry or my books and say, you know what, this is exactly what I needed to feel better and less alone in the world. And
Mm-hmm.
not everything that I write certainly is going to have that impact, because I write some pretty crazy stuff too. But it was that moment that I was like, okay, I get it, and I changed the reasons why I wrote in that moment.
Mm.
It was such a telling moment, and I committed to myself, I've got to write from a place of truth. And so I started to do that. And I just started to write because I loved writing as opposed to the business and the success side of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it changed everything for me. I got to tell you, I mean, I reached an even greater level of success because I think I was doing it from a more honest place. And sometimes you got to just do that. Sometimes we all need that, like, reality check. And I got it, and then I listened to it, and then I applied it, and haven't looked back since then. But it was definitely a strong moment for me in my writing life, is getting that message that's just like, oh wow.
Yes. Hence why they say what's from the heart reaches the heart.
Oh, that's
So
beautiful. Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. That's why, because that's what I'm hearing. That you really um came from, like you say, somewhere pure, somewhere that was lovely. You came from that place. Like, you think on the good things, I always say. So coming from that place, you could only be successful. You could only be successful. There was no way you weren't going to be successful because you were putting that positive energy. I tell people, all the time, and I know that some people don't believe this, but
Mhm.
I believe in the law of attraction. I really do. I believe that if you place yourself in a positive place, send some positive energy into the atmosphere, I believe that the atmosphere will shift and make room for what you want. You
Mhm.
know? I never, and I tell people I'm so blessed to be sitting in the seat that I am. It's fine. It puts you in a different place because of the reason that you're doing it. You know what I mean? You got the wonderful reason why you're doing it. You know why you're doing it. And then the reward, more so than the pay, the reward is when someone says, to you, or like the young man said to you, you just never know whose life you're going to touch. And to have the ability to be able to do it is on a whole nother level of satisfaction.
Mhm.
That is. So that's great, man. That's awesome. I'm
I,
not
I
kidding.
truly believe I subscribe to that. I feel like, are we related?
Hey,
I,
we
I,
could be.
yeah,
We
right,
could be, because for real, I got freckles.
so I love what you said, because that's so important. I think it extends beyond the creative life, but just life in general. But I always think, kind of like what you're talking about, I call it the boomerang effect. Like, what we
Hmm.
throw out there in a
Hmm.
beautiful way is going to come back to us and find us when we need it the most.
Yeah.
And it's so true what you talked about. And I live my life through
Hmm.
that very philosophy that you shared so well. It's it. we are so responsible for what we allow in our lives, what we
Oh
put out
yeah.
there, how we impact other people's lives.
Hmm.
I when I was a lot younger, I had a really wonderful job. One of the most rewarding jobs I ever had. I was a day camp counselor, and I worked in pretty urban area. The kids I worked with had some pretty a lot of challenges that
Hmm.
other kids maybe didn't have. And I remember my boss at the time, really smart woman. I was having a really bad day and I wanted to quit. And I was like, I know I'm not, I can't help these kids. I mean, I was just really downward spiral. And she
Yeah.
said, no, you're going to go back in there and you're going to smile because
Hmm.
you need to smile at a child because you never know if that's the only smile that they're going to see for the whole day. And
Wow.
that's why you're there. And that stayed with me about just putting out, taking an extra moment or extra effort to extend a moment of kindness or acknowledging someone that you see them, that they're not invisible, and smiling, a simple, gesture of smiling. And like you said, when we put that out there, we have no idea of the impact that it has on someone else's life, day, month, mood.
Yes. Yes.
And that's how we should all be, is just, acknowledging people in a kind way, and seeing them.
Yeah. Absolutely. I used to be a bill collector, believe it or not.
Oh, I bet that was
And
a tough
yes,
job.
yes, heck of a job, right? But it's not what you're doing, it's how you're doing it.
Mhm.
So I always took the opportunity to embrace whomever was calling. Number one, they at one point had good credit at some point because they ended up getting the credit. You know what I mean? So I think that everything happens for a reason, and you encounter people for various reasons. It's a design. It's a design. It's all a design. That's what I feel. I could be wrong, but hey, I'm almost 50. I'll be 50 in October. I don't think I got this far. Being, not paying attention to my surroundings and noticing, just with my third eye, basically.
Mhm.
Young man was on my show. He called it pioneer vision.
Mhm.
So, with that third eye of mine, and when you're looking into the hearts of people and things of that nature, it's just become something other. I mean, it is. It's a really wonderful feeling. So you are it though. I can definitely tell you.
Do you feel like, and I'm kind of asking this for myself too, but
That's fine.
do you feel like as you get older, you're listening more to that, because I do. I feel like before it was there, but I wasn't listening. I was tone deaf. I was tuning it out. I was like, I know better. I don't. Are you experiencing that too? I'm very
Yes.
close to your age. That's why I'm asking.
Yes, very much so. I listen more to what a person is saying, and I have to listen to why they're saying what they're saying.
Mhm.
So while one person might look at on the surface something, I'm looking beneath. I'm,
Right.
I'm paying attention and I'm listening to everything that they say because you just never know. Considering everybody is not the same, the versatility in the world is, it's great,
Mhm.
anyway. So then you don't know why that person's saying what they're saying, but you're listening to hear. So yes, I listen to people. I listen to what they're saying whenever we're talking to each other, just, so that I can know how to deal with them, how to embrace them. What we gonna, because usually if someone's talking to me, I definitely want to know they have something to say. So, and it's
Probably why you're such a great host, because, and I'm sure that the work that you do here was probably a calling of some kind, like you felt like you were called to do this, but
mhm.
and it shows. But I that ability to listen and to read people, I think, is why you're doing what you do in such a great, beautiful way. So it makes
Yeah.
sense that you're that you're here in that chair doing this. It's great work.
Yes, absolutely. It's a awesome, yes, it's an awesome feeling too. So we keep getting on me. Let me get back on you. No, I'm
Well,
joking.
you're an interesting person too. So
Right. What are some of the best horror films?
Oh,
that you wrote? What's the one of your best babies?
oh, that I wrote.
Mhm.
Well, any writer's going to say the best is yet to come.
Oh, true that.
I'm working on one now that I'm really excited about called Death Do Us Part, and it's
Mm.
about a female serial killer because you don't often get to see, the female murderer, and she's obsessed with becoming a bride, and she targets unfaithful men and goes after
Oh,
them, and terrorizes them. And I have a female rookie cop who's going after her to try to catch this woman and stop her. And so it's sort of these two women, kind of cat and mouse kind of a story. That's going to be a novel as well as a film. So I'm very excited about that. Finishing up that now. And I've written a lot of really creepy stuff. I have another one coming up called Under the Cellar Door, which is it's about a young girl in high school who finds out that she's inheriting like this terrifying family legacy, and it's all in the cellar of her house, and it's pretty creepy. And there's a couple times when I write horror that I've scared myself. as funny as that's crazy as that sounds, but that's when like, okay, I think I'm onto something good here. Because if I'm getting scared, then so. I
yeah.
love writing horror films. I love watching them. I love appreciating them. Um, I wrote a short film called Dummy about a woman that did really well in the film festival circuit. And I was really grateful to receive a lot of awards for that particular script. It's about a woman who, she's a widow, and she keeps a male mannequin in her house and in her car so that people don't think she's alone. So it's sort of out of protection. And a bunch of teenagers steal him from her, like sort of a prank go wrong, and he comes to life and seeks revenge on the pranksters, and so it's very creepy. And my poor mother's like, I don't know where you she'll read this stuff. I'm like, I don't know where you get these ideas
Ah,
from, but I'm so fascinated by what scares people and fear and so forth. But people love horror movies. Well, a lot of people do, not everyone, but I love a good scary movie any day of the week. So, but it's so different because some days I'm writing horror films and the other day I'm writing romance, which are like, I mean, romance love can be kind of scary too, but in a different way for sure. But
oh yeah.
it's
Oh yeah.
definitely like totally different experience of writing in those different genres. So it's
Yeah,
fun.
absolutely. You got me over here in my chair thinking I could see these things, just while you describing them. Hey, I can't wait. I cannot. The one with the bride. Oh, that's gonna
Oh,
be a good one. Oh,
when it's done, I'll send you a galley copy of the book. I'll email it to you so you have a copy of it. So, and then you have
oh,
to let me know what you think about it honestly. So I
I
always love feedback.
will. I'm over here like I can't wait. I'm about to let him go. So he go back writing. Trying to be talking to me. You got work to do. Not joking. That is really a good that's a good storyline there. Like, oh man, that's creative.
Thank you.
You
I hope it does well.
yeah, you got. I feel like you have like some extra compartments to your brain. Like, I mean, because you got the horror over here, the love over here, the young adult over here. You got it going on, for
Yeah.
real. Yes,
Thank you.
yes, 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 yes. Now, tell me, for someone who wants to be a screenwriter,
Oh, yeah.
what would you tell them? What would you tell?
Oh, um, well, the first thing I think, if you're writing for film, it's really important to know film, like to know your film history, to watch movies in different genres than you're writing in, or different genres. So if I'm writing horror movies, I still need to go back and look at, film noir and classic comedies and so forth, just to watch how stories are told on the screen. It's
Okay.
its own skill set. To write something cinematically, you're writing something that's being told in the form of moving pictures. So you have to write visually. Um, the format of a screenplay, I think, is one of I've taught screenwriting for many years, and my students have struggled with the format, like how you format a screenplay on the page.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many rules to it for the sake of the industry that can be very daunting. So getting past that is that I always say, though, bottom line is two things. One, study your craft, know what the heck you're doing, know about the the people who came before you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and to write fearlessly. Do not write from a place of fear. Turn that inner critic off. Don't listen to that voice that tells you that you're no good. You've got to sit down and do it. And to write every day. It doesn't matter if you write 100 words or 1,000 words, just get something on paper, on the screen,
Mm-hmm.
computer screen every day. And start small. Like when I first started, I was like, okay, I'm going to do 100 words a day. And then that turned into 200. And then eventually I was writing 1,000 words a day. They weren't necessarily great words or perfect words, but they
Mm-hmm.
were words on the paper. Screenwriting is so rewarding. It's challenging. It's a tough business, but if you can get in there and your stuff, people are looking for writers who know how to tell a good story on the screen, and
Mm-hmm.
it can be a very rewarding, fun career for sure. I've been very
Mm-hmm.
lucky to have 5 of my scripts turn into films, and so I am very fortunate for that for sure. As I
Yes,
said, the best is yet to come, right?
it
You got to
is.
keep challenging yourself and dream bigger.
Yes, I believe you just I knew it anyway without even talking to you, just by looking at the different books and the plays and things of that nature, just by looking at that, for someone to have that much on their resume, you know what I mean? Because that's clearly your resume, or that is like your bio is really full. I mean, it really is. That is awesome. That's awesome. So I can't wait though. I can't wait. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited because I can't wait to see this and read this your work, because you do good work. So I'm honored to have you here tonight.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. So now I just need one more piece of advice from you from a writer's standpoint.
Yeah.
What would you tell someone who was just wanting to write a book, an author?
To just write a book, there's so many distractions in life that are just there to keep us from writing. There's people who
Mm,
doubt us, the doubters, the people who don't understand why we have to do what we have to do. There's ourselves. Sometimes we're led to believe that we should feel guilty for asking for that time to write, to devote to our lives. Most writers have responsibilities. We have children and families and jobs and bills to pay, and so it's really hard to find that time to write. I think the most important thing to do is to treat your writing time as sacred time for yourself. That you've got to find that half hour, whatever it is that fits into your world, to devote to your writing. The more you write, the better you're going to get, and the more successes that's going to come your way. And to treat that writing time as that very valuable time, and to remember again that you're the only one who can tell your stories, and we need your stories. Your voice needs to be out there to tell it, and so don't hold back. Don't cheat the world from not hearing your story. Get it out there. Everybody's got a story inside of them, from
yes,
life, and ups and downs, highs and lows, whatever you want to call it.
yes,
And you just gotta do it. A book is tough. Hats off to anybody. My tip of the hat to anybody who can finish a book, because I know it just consumes your life at a certain point.
yeah,
But the rewards are remarkable. So hang in there. If
yes,
anyone's listening to this or watching this and they're like, I'm gonna give up, don't give up. Don't give up just because somebody else told you it's never gonna happen. You're
yes.
gonna prove them wrong.
Yes, I touch and agree with you, honey, because it's persistence.
Hmm.
It's persistence, consistency. Those are things that, and I truly believe that how you make your surroundings in wherever you're writing too helps, because my thing is affirmations, consistency, persistence, just the things that you're trying to accomplishments,
Yep.
those type of having those types of positive words around you and things of that nature. I also think that helps. That helps because it's easy. It's easier to quit. That's the easy way out.
Quitting is easy. Sticking it, like you're saying, staying in the game and keeping your head up in the game is tough. But those that do, sticking the really quickly. I just want to, on what you're saying. I had a book of mine that probably close to 100 publishers said no to,
Mm-hmm,
and about 50 agents passed on it.
mm-hmm,
And I hung in there. It took me, I don't know how many years to get this book published. It became my best-selling book of my entire career.
Wow.
It outsold all of the books I'd written collectively up to that point, one book, because I knew that young people especially, were gonna find the book, connect it, and read it. And I hung in there for many years. And so if anybody's listening or watching this, do the same thing, because no matter how many no's you get, all it takes is one yes. And that one yes
Yes.
is out there. That yes is out there.
Absolutely. That yes is there. And we're going to go on that note. Tell my viewers where they can find your work. It's everywhere. Just tell them though.
Yeah, no, come hang out with me on my website, which is dmatthewb, which is DMATTHEWB.com.
Mhm.
I'm also on social media. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, pretty much anywhere. Always love to connect with readers and fellow writers and artists. I'm here. If I can help in any way, please reach out. But yeah, please, and all my books and stuff are all through, you can find them on Amazon and all the major book retailers. And if you read something of mine, anyone who's watching or listening, I love feedback. I'm always wanting to be a better writer. So reach out and let me know what you think.
Yay. Well, oh my goodness. I certainly enjoyed talking to you. I appreciate you for coming to the Real Tea. I really, really do. I always say, the pandemic brought about lots of friends for me. So this is great. I always tell my husband, do you know what this means? Like after this is completely over and, we're able to actually physically see one another, I think that's going to be a day. What a time. My grandmother used to say, what a time, what a time, what a time. So I look forward to those times. I also look forward to future work from you. And again, I do thank you for coming to the Real Tea. So this is the part of my show where we do the final sip of tea. The word can is so small, but it's yet so big, and it carries lots of weight. Your future is in your own hands, and so is your destiny. Our guest tonight, he proved that possibilities to focus is inevitably endless to those who seek to find. The desires of one's heart, the determination with one's mind, staying true to yourself is the key. And in the meantime, prepare. You never know when the time is near, so stay ready so you don't have to get ready. God bless you guys. And thank you so very much for tuning in to The Real Tea. Mr. Matthews, take care. Bye bye.